क्या टॉपिक कर रहे थे हम? फोर्स्ड वाइब्रेशन का, दिस वन. So we have discussed the response of the single degree freedom system to the periodic loading, because harmonic loading is a periodic loading. Now we are going to discuss the response of the response of the single degree freedom system to the non-periodic loading. So what is the difference between the periodic and the non-periodic loading? Any student, periodic and the non-periodic.
Sir, periodic loading repeats itself after regular intervals of time और non-periodic repeat नहीं करती.
तो जो the harmonic loading is a periodic or non-periodic?
So it's a periodic motion.
That was the periodic. How about the earthquake loading?
Sir, it's non-periodic.
Non-periodic.
It may be or it may not be.
It's non-periodic loading. So for the periodic loading, we can have the analytical solution. We can have the simple methods to find out the solution. But for the non-periodic loadings, we have to find out the solution by using the advanced methods. What are the different methods to find out the response of the system to the non-periodic loading? These are the different methods: convolution integral, Laplace transformation, approximating the function with the help of some interpolation method, and then by using the numerical methods, and then numerical integration of the equation of motions. So these are the methods to find out the response of the system to the non-periodic loading. Now please look at here. This loading, is it periodic or non-periodic?
It's non-periodic.
It is non-periodic. How can we find out? Today we are going to discuss how can we find out the free vibration, forced vibration response of the system for the non-periodic loading by using the first method. This first method, that is a convolution integral. Okay, so we have to find out the response of the system due to the non-periodic loading. So non-periodic loading has a magnitude that varies with time. It acts for a specified period and then stops. So what we can do, one of the simplest method is we can divide the non-periodic loading into series of pulses. This is a impulse loading. And what is the impulse loading? The large magnitude of the force acting for a very short period of time. Large magnitude of the force acting for a very short period of time, that is the impulse. So what we will do, we will divide this loading into series of impulses. Okay, and we can find out the response because of each impulse separately, and then we can integrate over the time, or we can sum up the responses because of all impulses. So if you can have the some procedure to find out the response because of a single impulse, in the similar way we can find out the response of the other impulses, and then simply we have to integrate. So now we are going to discuss what is the impulse and how can you find out the response of the system because of a unit impulse and then because of a impulse challenge. So we have these methods: convolution integral, Laplace transformation. We can use the numerical procedure, or we can use the numerical integration of the equation of motions. These are the advanced methods. Anyhow, in this lecture, we will discuss this method, the first method, that is the convolution integral, Duhamel integral. So what is the convolution integral? Consider one of the simplest non-periodic exciting force, impulsive force. What is the impulsive force? Large force, magnitude force, which is acting for a very short period of time. So large magnitude force acting for a very short period of time, that is the impulsive force. According to Newton's second law of motion, the force, net force, is equal to the rate of change of momentum. यही होता है ना, rate of change of momentum. Delta T we can take on the other side, and we can define the force multiplied by the time, small t, delta T. that is the impulse. Impulse will be equal to m x2 dot minus m x1 dot. What is x2 dot? This is the velocity of the system after the application of the load, and this is the velocity of the system before the application of the load. So we have defined the impulse. Now, magnitude of the force multiplied by the time, that is the impulse. And that is because the force is equal to the rate of change of momentum, delta t we can take on the other side, and we have defined this term as impulse. x1 dot and x2 dot, these are the velocities of the mass before and after the impulse. So magnitude of the impulse we can calculate, we can integrate over the time in which this force is acting, t plus delta t, so f dt, so we have the impulse value. And if the magnitude of the impulse that is equal to 1, that is the unit impulse. This is the unit impulse. Limit approaches to 0, time is very short, t plus delta t, f dt. So if the magnitude of this impulse it is equal to 1, we define another term, that is the unit impulse. So f as this one, small f, that is the unit impulse. So f dt will have a finite value. This has some value. It means f is a very large value, approaches to infinity, and delta t or dt, that is a very small value. It is approaches to 0. Delta t, small value, f is a large value, just like a impact load. Large magnitude of the force acting for a very short period of time. Okay. This part we will discuss later. Start from here. So this is the displacement of the system before the application of the load. What will be the displacement before the application of the load? Whatsoever is the status condition of that system. Suppose the body is at rest. So displacement and the velocity just before the application of the load, they are equal to 0. There is no velocity in the system. There is no displacement in the system. Either we can write in this way or in this way. T less than 0 means the displacement and the velocity just before the application of the load. Similarly, displacement and the velocity just before the application of the load. Either we can write in this format or in this format. 0 minus, it means the load, displacement and the velocity before the application of the load. Okay, use this equation now. F delta t mx2 dot minus x1 dot. When the impulse will be acting after the application of the load, unit impulse will be equal to mx2 dot minus mx1 dot. What is the velocity just before the application of the load? This is equal to 0. Okay. After the application of the load, suppose the velocity of the system will become x naught dot. So this is the velocity after the application of the load. X naught dot. This is the velocity after the application of the load. From here, we can find out the velocity that is equal to 1 over m. So actually we have converted the impulsive force to the initial velocity given to the system. Do you understand? That impulsive force will give the velocity to the system. Displacement, initial displacement is equal to 0, and the velocity is equal to, for the unit impulse, it is equal to 1 over m. Do you understand this one? Any confusion about this point? It is important. Kiya kya beta? We have converted the unit impulse to the equivalent initial velocity given to the system. Actually, the impulse will give the initial velocity to the system. Just like if you fire a bullet to the system will move with some velocity. So this is the impact load, large load acting for a very short period of time, disturb the system. It will disturb the system. And that disturbance is in the form of the velocity. So we have converted this unit impulse to the initial conditions. And what are the initial conditions? Displacement at t is equal to 0, that is equal to 0, and the velocity at t is equal to 0, that is equal to 1 over m. Any confusion?
No, sir.
Okay, if it is clear, now we will find out the response of the system because of these initial conditions. And because of the initial conditions, already you know, the response is just like the free vibration response. Okay. This impulse has just given the initial velocity. So we can find out the response of the system just like the free vibration response. This is the system, single degree freedom system. This is the equation of motion when no load is acting for the free vibration response. And do you remember this expression? This one. This is the displacement response of किसका है? Displacement response of
Damped function.
underdamped. This is the displacement response of underdamped single degree freedom system having the angular frequency equal to omega d. So here we have the trigonometric function, and this is the decay function. Okay, exponential function or the decay function, and this is the trigonometric function. C1 cosine of omega d t plus C2 sine of cosine omega dt, and this one C2 sine of omega dt. And this is a decaying function. This expression we have already derived. This is the displacement response of underdamped single degree freedom system. So most of the system, they are underdamped. So we can use this expression to find by using these initial conditions. Initial conditions are displacement 0 and the velocity is equal to 1 over m. So put the values here. Here we have the initial displacement that is equal to 0. So this term will be equal to 0. How about this term? Zeta omega n x naught, that will also be equal to 0 because x naught is equal to 0. So we will left inside the bracket x naught dot over this one is equal to omega d. 1 minus zeta square under root is omega, and this is omega d. So x naught over omega d sine of omega dt, and x naught is equal to 1 over m. So 1 over m omega d sine of omega dt. These you already know. This is the zeta, omega d is the damped angular frequency, omega n is the natural frequency of the undamped system. So these relationships we have already discussed in detail. So just put the initial conditions in this equation, and we have this expression. This multiplying factor will be as it is. This term will be equal to 0. X naught dot is equal to 1 over m, and in the denominator we have omega d sine of omega dt. So we can find out the response. This multiplying term as it is, x naught 1 over m, in the denominator we have omega d, and then multiply with sine omega dt. Clear this one? Any confusion? So if it is clear, then we can plot the response, and because of unit impulse, this will be the response. Response is similar to the free vibration response having the initial condition displacement equal to 0 and the velocity equal to 1 over m if the impulse is the unit impulse. Any question? If you don't have any question, then we can move further. So what do you think? This unit impulse will be always at t is equal to 0, or it can be at any time?
So it can be at any time.
It can be at any time, though. So we can generalize the response for the impulse acting at a time t is equal to tau. Suppose this impulse is not at t is equal to 0, it is at t is equal to tau. So we can rewrite this expression. Before to rewrite this expression, suppose the impulse is not a unit impulse. The impulse have some magnitude f. Okay. So what will be the response for the impulse having a magnitude f? Simply you can multiply this response with f. So f time the response because of the unit impulse. So the response for the unit impulse is equal to impulse times this function. This is the function of t. Okay, this expression is a function of t. So this is the response of the impulse having the magnitude f instead of unity. Then we can write this expression for the impulse which is acting at t is equal to tau for a time period delta tau. It is acting for the time delta tau, and it is not acting at t is equal to 0. It is acting at t is equal to tau. Further, we can simplify this expression. Xt will be equal to, we have the impulse value here, and then this is not the function of t. we can use the Dirac delta function. What is the Dirac delta function? This function will have some value when t will be equal to tau, and it will be equal to 0 for all other t values. Do you understand? This is the mathematical way to write the function. This is a Dirac delta function. Previously, the impulse was acting at t is equal to 0. Now the impulse is acting at t is equal to tau. So it means that this function will have some value when the t is equal to tau and it is equal to 0 for all other values. So this is a general expression to find out the response of the impulse having the magnitude f and acting at time t is equal to tau. Okay, so when you will plot, you will have the similar response. Only the difference is that it is not started from the t is equal to 0. It is started from t is equal to tau. Okay, similar response, but the time is different. So general expression is this one. Okay, now we have to find out the response because of the non-periodic loading by using the response of the impulses. This is the non-periodic loading. We can divide this loading into series of impulses. Okay, small impulses. And then what we can do. So if we have the arbitrary force, non-periodic loading, any arbitrary force, it's not periodic. Even we can use this method for the periodic loading. Okay, it's applicable for both periodic and non-periodic loading. But specifically we use this method for the non-periodic loading because for the periodic loading we can easily find out the response. So this large force or the impulse acts on the system for a very short period, delta tau. So this is the general impulse acting at any time t is equal to tau. It's acting for a very short period, delta tau, and then magnitude of the impulse is f tau. So impulse force acting at t is equal to tau, that will be equal to, impulse will be equal to force multiplied by the time. At any time t, the elapsed time is t minus tau. Okay, t minus tau. This is delta tau is the elapsed time. The system response at t due to the impulse will be equal to, so impulse multiplied by some function. That function we have already defined. This is a function t minus tau. And then we can put the value of the impulse, magnitude of the force, and the time for which the force is acting. And we have some function here. The total response, because of this non-periodic loading, simply we can sum up the responses because of all the impulses, because each impulse will give the initial velocity to the system. So we can find out the response because of each impulse separately, and then we can sum up the responses because of all the impulses. So this is the response because of any impulse in between, and then sum up, put a sum here, sum of the responses because of all impulses, that will be the total response because of this non-periodic loading. Either we can sum up the responses to find out the total response because of this non-periodic loading, or we can integrate over the time 0 to t. Same, either we can sum up or we can integrate. So this is the integral to find out the responses because of all the impulses. And then we can put the values of the function gt minus tau. What is that function? This is a multiplying factor. This is a constant value, zeta omega n t. Omega n is the property of the system. Zeta is the property of the system. This is a damping ratio. Omega n also. This is an angular frequency. So we can write this one outside. No, t. No, t is the function. No, t is different. This should be inside. But mass and omega d, that can be outside. One of our mass into omega d, and then zeta omega n t minus tau. Zeta omega n t minus tau. Similarly, sine omega d t minus tau. Sine omega d t minus tau. D tau is as it is. And this integral is known as the Dumble integral or the convolution integral. By using this integral, we can find out the response due to the non-periodic loading. Any question? Anybody can repeat what we have discussed? जी बेटा कोई क्वेश्चन है आप लोगों का? Any question? आप मौजूद भी होगे नहीं?